You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the
Hey everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Dave, and this is Everything Everywhere, or for this episode, Dell's Pitiful Destroyed Toe.
Nice.
I'm so excited about this episode, everybody listening. I cannot wait for it. So let's crack right into it. You're reading it. You've read the title, obviously. Let's get right to it. We have the man from YouTube. You've seen him, if you're in this community, or if you're in the whatever, the TCAP community, or if you're just into good content, I recommend him. Baked Salmon is on the show. Welcome, Baked.
Hey, what's happening, buddy? I appreciate you having me on here, man. This is great.
There's very few experiences now, having done this show for a while, where I get like semi-legitimately starstruck, but like I love your videos so much. This is a little bit like, oh,
that's so bitching. That's so bitching, dude. I dig it, man. Thank you, brother.
So also there's Chris over there on the couch for those listening at home.
I'm here on the couch.
So let's jump right into it, man. Your show on YouTube. Let me just give everybody a little brief recap and then a little bit of my experience. So leading up to this, like 2 or 3 years ago, I was watching To Catch a Predator every day, all day.
Nice.
And I was like, oh my God, I can't get enough. And that's when I stumbled upon Mr. Gigi's reviews. And I was just like looking for anything, and he just struck the right chord. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I started to grow into that community. But it was right about that time that the Hanson tornado of it all was blowing through town. And I was like, oh no. And I watched it all die.
Yes.
So full disclosure, I had only heard about you from when I heard about you getting struck.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So I looked into some of the other people, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. I like To Catch a Predator, but the content of all these creators didn't seem to grab me.
Right.
So finally, the itch started up again. I was like, let's get back into it. Something's got to give. So then I was like, oh yeah, Baked Salmon. And I watched, what are your first overdue analysis?
Okay. Yeah, I started doing the entire series from episode 1.
Yeah, I am so glad that you're doing that. I like being a To Catch a Predator fan as I am. I love the breakdowns. I love everybody's opinion on it. I love everything about it.
It's weird that it's very. I mean, not for everybody, obviously, but it can get you hooked, man. Where you're just like, now I want to know this guy's opinion on it. Now I want to know this guy's opinion on it, and you're watching the same guys being analyzed by dozens of people, but it's still interesting for some reason.
It's so strange. It's kind of like. It's like, okay, so my touchstone for true crime that everybody knows about is Jack the Ripper, right?
Okay.
So, and it's compelling because it'll never be solved. Ever, ever, ever. No one will ever know.
Right.
And that's the same thing with all these dudes, except they're still alive.
Yeah.
They'll lie and lie and lie. And, some of the ones are obviously are upfront about it, or to varying degrees. But for the most part, they're so enigmatic, you want to peel the onion.
Yes. Great way to put
it.
Well,
there's some that I would love to know about. That one guy that they didn't get to interview at all, that walks in the black tank top.
Oh my God. So let's talk about that. Let's just jump right into it. So you've got to watch Baked Salmon's video on it.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
I haven't shown it to you yet because I know that I was going to watch it a million times. And I didn't want to get you sick of it, and I haven't kept track of what you watch and what I haven't. And yeah, that was one that really stuck in my craw for years.
Because you don't know anything about him. They're like, oh, we didn't get any information about him, and his name is too dirty to say on the out loud.
Hey, I'll let Bake say it.
Oh, wait. No, well, first you got to tell me which guy we're talking about.
Oh, yeah,
I've
sorry.
done so many videos.
Todd West.
Todd West, that's his name.
Jeremy Todd, or not Todd.
Not Jeremy.
Todd West. There's 2 Todd Wests.
Yeah.
Even I confuse them. No, Todd West is X comes in the night. X. Is,
Nice. I can see why they couldn't say that on public TV.
right,
my
but
God.
yet Hanson will say, "Can I rape you anally?"
Yeah, or
Oh my God.
Meat
Yeah.
Rocket 8. Yeah.
Blankety blank blank blank.
Oh, yeah, oh my God. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, but yeah, Todd West is one of those ones where it's so tantalizing because he shows up and he shows up dressed as like the goth kid from 9th grade.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you get no interview.
Nothing.
And then you get like the interrogation footage of like 30 seconds of him going like, lawyer, please. And I assume this is being recorded.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I don't know if recently I realized that how funny it is and how I don't know, fortuitous, I guess, that when he's in the kitchen, there's actually a shot where you see his reflection in the mirror, and I just thought that was really funny because, hey, you're not a vampire after all.
Yeah, oh my God. So now that one I love because it answered a lot of questions, but the one I've gone to repeatedly is your Kenneth Brinkman analysis. I fucking love that analysis.
Okay, I need to know which guy.
Okay, so
what he looks like.
Kenneth Brinkman is the tall dude. He came to see Rocky. He's got the gray mustache, the short gray hair, and he says, "You know a lot."
Is he the guy that was said he was 40, but he was like 68 or something?
No.
Oh,
That's Thomas, and he's a different city.
sorry. Got it. I think I know who you're talking about.
You know your TCAP, man.
Hey, I'm
Right.
telling you, okay, so not to divulge, but go on a too big of a tangent. Like when it was getting pulled from YouTube left, right, and center, I found a dude online with some insane religious views on BitChute, but he had literally all of the episodes uncut.
Oh, nice.
And I kept it to myself, and I still am. I'm not going to tell you who it is because I'm afraid that someone, if one his religious reviews are already enough to make him a hot commodity and topic. But
Right.
I don't want to get that stuff pulled down because I sometimes still like to go back to it.
I did find some links to stuff on BitChute at one point, and it may or may not be the same person, but thank goodness it's out there, and some of the stuff's really high quality. Saul, I don't know if you know Saul, but Saul is the channel that everyone goes to now for quality footage because he's taken the even the rough stuff and I don't know, run it through some filters, done some kind of editing, and he makes it look really crisp.
You know, I feel like I've seen a lot of TCAP in like post and pre, cut and uncut, blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. But these guys will dig up stuff that just like it makes me want to watch. Okay, so like for example, a guilty pleasure of mine is James Roush.
Roush, yeah.
I'm
He's a beaut.
so sad he never made it in front of Chris. Because oh my God, would that have been awesome?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, but thank goodness the interrogators there at the police station kept him going for so long, and I don't know why they do. It seems like they did it for our benefit because they just talked to him at length for like an hour, and it's like, we got everything we need here, but thank goodness for the fans. We enjoy it.
Yeah, he goes on. I've watched it a lot. I'm not going to tell you how much because it's embarrassing, but I've watched it a lot. It is 2 hours and 45 minutes, and for a large chunk of it, he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I
with
wasn't
the
sure who you were
mustache,
talking
James
about.
Roush. So yeah, I love and hate that interrogation footage because I love how hypocritical he is. Because I've also gone back and listened to a reading of his chat, which is completely hilarious.
Yes.
But it's 100% anachronistic throughout. It's like a layer of lie and a layer of truth running concurrently. It's like he told the same lie at the same time in the same order with the chat.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
Pretty wild. He is a very magnetic personality or something because he doesn't seem to care when he's being interrogated. It's almost as if he feels like, well, I'm not really busted. I'm going to be fine after all this. So I'll just go ahead and tell them.
He is. I think what's so compelling about him is he's so familiar to people because he's a narcissist, but also like completely out of his league.
Yeah.
Because there are some people who are completely asshole about themselves, but can back it up with the skills or the intelligence, and then you just sort of have to take it as it is. But there are those people out there who are completely, in their own world, and since everybody more or less in the real world tolerates a certain amount of gaslighting, he does nothing but.
Right.
And in an interrogation, when you've got facts, it's not like you're talking to an annoyed spouse or whoever. When you're talking to these interrogators, it's so funny where they're like, of course, everybody's favorite, Dustin McFetridge.
Yeah. Dustin's good.
His is so... too, like the way he just tap dances around what he thinks is awful, but still like putting his neck in the noose.
I wasn't gonna do nothing bad.
I thought.
Is that the doctor?
No.
Oh,
the one who wanted the one who was cerebral palsy who thought she wanted to be shaved down there.
Got it.
Down there.
There are so many. I would. Okay. I understand that the interrogators are probably not looking for all of the details we are now looking for in hindsight. But isn't there like a little bit of like, you're a detective, right? Doesn't like there a little of cat's curiosity in you to like pursue that a little? Like, I brought a razor for XYZ so I could shave her genitals. And you're like, yeah. And it just sort of glossed over. It's like, okay, got the admission. It's like he's checking it off a list.
Little checklist. Well, I mean, if that's what you do, it probably gets a little like, all right, this is what you want to do with her. Okay, you brought a razor. Okay, cool. Like it's just
it's just a day at the office,
right?
Yeah, I agree that there's got to be more questions they could have asked, and sometimes they do. Mm-hmm. That reminds me of the perverted justice decoys, the organization that was catfishing these guys or whatever, getting these guys to take the bait. I love that sometimes they go off on tangents, like with the infamous Lorne Armstrong. His decoy brings in a side story about a boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend, and Lauren's like, was there any boys at the party? Oh yeah, Derek was there. What? Derek? Ex-Derek? Like, there was no reason to do that, but they just suck him into the side story, and it's so beautiful to check out.
I guess if it's, and maybe it's up to the decoy too, right? Because if you have someone who's giving you gold and you feel like they're always going to pay out, you probably string them along as
ride with it.
Yeah.
The one that bugged me out was with, I don't know what the decoy's name was that talked on the phone, the heavier girl with the curly hair talking about the cat.
Marvin Lacan.
Oh my God. Could not handle that guy. I don't remember the names and stuff, but when they're like,
Marvin,
you're
naked.
Grab this towel that's already placed
You're naked. You got a 14-year-old girl here.
Cat.
You're chasing a cat around. You got Cool Whip,
which he didn't bring in the house.
Yeah, maybe because it feels like this might be one of those TCAP is fake moments.
Right.
Because he walks in, maybe I just don't see it in the footage, but when he walks in, he's straight up naked, and then there's Cool Whip on the table.
That blows my mind too. And you know what? You know where we need to go to find the answer to that is the Temple of TCAP. I don't know if you're familiar with that website.
I am.
Temple of TCAP, is the place for exactly this type of question. And I guarantee you, if we went and checked it out, it's been questioned and answered numerous times, but I've never gone and looked for that answer, but I know exactly what you're saying. That's crossed my mind too, is like, wait a minute, why is there Cool Whip there? Did they have it ready just as a little jab, like, so that he would go, oh, okay, well, we got Cool Whip, so
right, did Chris bring it out, or like, what the hell happened?
Well, because he's the same guy that asked for money for gas, right?
Yeah.
Yep. In the chat, he's
you're gonna give me gas money
with some gas money, right?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Even Lauren didn't ask for gas money, which is surprising because Lauren is notorious.
I know, he's so poor
weasel.
and sad.
Yeah.
There's some of the ones that I love, I don't think get enough attention. There are so many to whatever quote unquote celebrate in this particular way. that like I would love to see a deep dive, and again I'll touch back to your Kenneth Brinkman one because it has all of the he's got all of the things you want someone to say in that situation. Like you want them to keep fucking up and it's hilarious. Like they don't fuck up and like they're trying to, like he just feels so gullibly stupid.
Yeah.
Kind of. I love the counter. And if you know this reference, please put it in the comments or wherever. Find out and get it to me. But when you do that specific thing where you call attention to a specific motion and then those huge letters ply up and you go klutzy or manners.
Yeah, I don't know where I got that from, but it's from something.
I love that shit. I feel like maybe there must have been like commercials around in the 80s doing that shit.
I'm sure.
Probably.
Like
a lot of my humor is pop culture, and I don't always know where I originally saw it or got it from. But yeah, I mean, just like, anybody who's creative or making art, you get your creativity, from somewhere. Your ideas came from something. They don't just, come out of nowhere. I don't think they ever do. I think it all comes from some experience. So
you
that
and your
came from
environment.
something, but I don't know what.
Here's the thing about your brand of pop culture reference as like a thread or a through line through through your videos or whatever. It's semi-timeless because there's no specific time period where I can nail down that you reference enough to be like, that's where you're most familiar.
Gotcha.
It feels like a perfectly balanced tapestry of like from the 70s to now. I don't want to say like a radio DJ, but it's like, it's like the hottest, the golden oldies from 70s to now, all the way your top pop hits. But it literally is because you're pulling stuff from like the Dick Van Dyke Show all the way up to stuff that happened like literally yesterday.
I would say that's true. And I think there's possibly my mom gets a lot of the credit for my my focus being as such, because my mom she's always been bizarrely hip to current events, current pop culture events, to the point where like in the 80s I was just a small kid, but I grew up in San Diego, California. More than once drove me up to Los Angeles so we could walk around the Melrose area and see all the punk rockers with their Liberty spiked hairdos and stuff, because she thought that was cool. And I was, 10 years old or something. I'm like, wow, this is pretty wild.
Yeah.
And then, on into into the 90s. One year for Christmas, my mom bought me Kurt Cobain's diary. It's like,
that's crazy.
It's stuff that I don't expect, but I came to expect from my mom. She's always got her finger on the pulse of pop culture. And I think maybe that's where a lot of that came from. And then, of course, like you said, the Dick Van Dyke, I wasn't alive when that was current.
Right.
But those kinds of shows were on TV when I was a kid. And so I would watch that stuff, and it just stuck in my brain. And, it's funny because I'm not able to do math very well. I've gone to university, and I sucked hard at math, and a lot of things that are important that you should be able to remember, I can't, formulas and whatnot. So forget it. But pop culture stuff, it embeds, and when I see something that I think is interesting or funny, it seems like I will quickly use that in my day-to-day conversation, and those kinds of things build up in my brain. Pop culture stuff.
Well, yeah,
I don't know why.
Because a bunch of different reasons, but like you're exposed to it, number one, and number two, it's not like something you have to do. Like if math is something that you have to do, and who has to do math? Like unless you're a physicist or like looking to solve a quadratic equation, like you're on a game show or something, forget about it. Pop culture is probably the easiest and most available thing to follow, because like everything else, any vein you want to jump into, you can stay on the surface, or you can go down into an infinitude of like, and here we are talking about To Catch a Predator 40 years after the release of it, so it's just as an example. So it's always there and it's always alive. You can always come back to the top and check in.
That's it.
It's one of those, but it does get written off as one of those things where it's like, I'm too old to be keeping up with blah, 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 blah.
You're right.
What does age have to do with keeping your eyes open? Like, you own a TV, like now with smartphones, like like age is, as far as like being an entity online or anywhere, age isn't even a matter anymore unless we get into this To Catch a Predator stuff.
That's when age doesn't matter. Yes, you're right.
That's when it gets a problem. But like most people, like you, me, or anyone else, anywhere between like 18 and 110,
right?
They're just an entity online, and it's wild.
It's either entertaining or it's not. It doesn't seem to have age doesn't seem to play into that. And I know that I did my first year in the TCAP community, so to speak. I took on this big project. I was going to make a TCAP community movie, and it ended up becoming was several chapters, like maybe 6 or 7 chapters, which are now on my channel in individual chapters. But at the time I was pretty green to, like, I thought it was still the Wild West, like you could use anybody's content, anybody's music, or whatever, make videos. Well, come to find out that's not the case. So I had to do a lot of editing to get my stuff to stay up online. But my point was, I make a comment at the end of that movie where I say, one day there'll be a time when somebody enters the TCAP community who was born after the show aired.
Yeah.
Because, the show was, I don't know, 2005, I think.
Yeah,
so
5 to 7.
What are we looking at? 16 years?
Yeah.
17 years. So it was 2007. Okay, so about 14 years. I don't think yet there's anybody in the community because that's kind of young, 13, 14. But it won't be long. And it just blows my mind. And that's why I referenced it in that movie is there'll be a time when that person enters, that's like 18, whatever, 20 or something, there's going to be people that are in their 60s, their 70s or whatever, that are also interested. And it's kind of a weird thing. I never saw that before.
It's kind of like it's very close. It's just I shouldn't even say it's close because it's just another like growth of the true crime genre. And that's sort of what led me back into the TCAP community in the first place, because I loved it when it was on, and then boom, gonzo.
Yeah.
And so then, you fall back into true crime and hope you find something that scratches that itch. But there's something about true crime that's also like with a dude sort of wagging his finger at a dude, and then in like 10 to 20 minutes they go, get on the ground, and then you hear a thud.
Oh my god, I love that's probably one of my favorite parts of these TCAP shows is when they're like, get on the ground, and they make them face plant into the grass. There are so many of the talking heads that I love. I love the Kenneth Brinkman. I love him, the dude who has got no hair except for that thick goatee. He just says nothing but obvious shit, and Chris is like, yeah. But that's what they all say. They all just like, well, these guys, they're here for sex with kids, and we're going to get them. And Chris is like, yeah. and do you think what we're doing here is good? Please help us justify this. And they go, oh yeah, fucking great.
Chris has such an amazing technique where it's mostly all he's doing is repeating back what they say.
Yeah.
I'm building a gym for a church. Oh, a gym for a church, huh? Is that a good job? Yeah, that's a good job. It's just so funny that he just repeats back what they say, and then he does that for 10 minutes, and then they're busted.
Yeah, I feel like if it's just something to fill space, like if he doesn't have something that, like if they're not obviously handing him gold with every turn, you need to do something. So you say, okay, I heard what you said. Here's what it sounds like back to you. Right. So it sort of helps them with reality. And maybe, to touch back with Marvin Lacan, like that's what sort of clues him into shit. Because he's like, when Chris starts laying it out and using his own words, he's like, what? And he just sort of wakes up.
Wait a minute.
His motor stalls, man. If you watch his footage, he's just like, pew.
Yeah. He's not the only one.
No, but he's just like the best because like he almost feel like he knows where the camera is, and so he aims his body toward it. He doesn't necessarily make eye contact, but it's so good to see his like consciousness check out.
Oh, and that one guy who like literally admitted to Chris that having sex with a minor
Which
would be
one?
the best thing ever.
Oh no! Well, yeah,
The one with the big
Yeah.
white
That's
T-shirt
Cody
and the
Green.
white hat,
Cody Green. His band calls him Cody Blue.
and they're like, and he's like, oh yeah, that'd be like the best thing.
Are you her
The
father?
cleanest, best pleasure.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
cleanest, best pleasure. Are you her father or something, sir? My daughter. What makes you think that she's my daughter? He never answers that question. I'm like, what? Like, who? I'm always stuck in like, who cares? Like, obviously, like,
He never answers that question.
like, oh, he dodged you there, Chris. But don't forget to call him out. Hey, he didn't answer me, audience.
Like I don't remember if it's Dupay or Cologne. It's one of the guys from the Hanson versus Predator where he says like, he's 35. We know he's actually 36. Okay, whatever.
I know.
35, 36. Okay, he lied to you, I guess.
Yeah, all the dudes who do the age thing, Palumbo's probably top of the heap as far as that goes. 35, 39, 35. He's
Yeah.
like he's
Like
ranking
in
them.
the conversation, he says 35, 39, and then goes back to 35. Yeah, 35, 39, 35.
I forget his name, but I think he was in Long Beach. The dude rode up on his bike, and he's like, how old are you? He's like 35, 40.
That's right.
40.
Yep.
And that's another thing. Maybe that's another thing that you need to do to like, because if like when Palumbo did it, when he goes 35, 39, 35, like Chris, every time he gets to repeat himself, he goes,
Yeah.
So when he goes 35, 40, he's like 40.
40.
It's like when what's his name, the dead-eyed kid in Florida, when he goes, how many of you have you chatted online before? And he goes, not that many. He's like, ballpark it for me.
Ballpark.
10. He goes, 10. He goes, maybe 15. And he doubles down. And he goes like, whoa, I can't believe we're going up in
You chatted with
space.
15 people.
Even Hampton's getting blown away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God. What? I can't remember his name. You probably know it. He's the guy who put all the tiny little amounts of alcohol.
In the giant bottles.
That's Gosling, Brian Gosling, the guy that comes in and says,
No.
Oh wait, no, not Gosling. No, I know who you're talking. It's Eric Thornton who says, "I bought some Jägermeister. I bought this. I bought this." Yeah, that was Eric Thornton. He's got the close cropped hair on the sides and the big ears and the glasses.
Yeah, he comes in with those, and like, this is like a time capsule, but he comes in with the earbuds pulled up under the shirt, hanging out over his collar. Yeah. Oh my God, that's the earbuds of its time, or AirPods, right? In my time, of its time.
AirPods, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the trendy thing to do to have shit under your shirt. Like, yeah, I listen, but you can't see all the cord. That's for me.
Just about 4 inches.
Ooh.
The one kid, I don't know, is it Long Beach where they go and they sit at the beach in those uncomfortable looking
Florida.
chairs? So the kid that comes like the guy that comes from like the taxi, and he asked Chris, can you give me some money for a taxi to get
Can I
home?
get a ride?
Can I get
Can
a
you give me a
ride?
taxi?
And like Chris Hansen sits down. He looks so uncomfortable in those stupid beach chairs.
No, I'm not going to be able to.
I think that's a Malik Washington.
Yeah,
He's with
Malik
the
Washington.
SpongeBob jacket.
Yeah, with the SpongeBob jacket. Yeah, there's port on there. And there's port. Like, oh my God. Like, okay, I'm sorry. But 13, 19, whatever. The decoys still remembered what it was like to be a child. How did you? And they're also actors.
Yeah.
How are most of them so bad at acting like children?
Dude, it's a trip. And that's what makes the whole universe, the whole TCAP universe, just so engaging is, there's all these questions, many that will never be answered, but there's so many people that want to discuss it, It's an infinite wormhole, and there's always going to be other aspects to turn over, because that's what gives birth to all of these conspiracy theories and all the crazy shit that happens. Right. Because when you do look into it and you say, well, this line of thinking proves this, and this form of psychology does this, and yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, they're all saying different things. Well, it doesn't matter. Right. we have, this is the one time where like the true crime does not need to be dissected. We've got from the inception of the crime to the finishing of the punishment, complete documentation. Right.
This is like if they were like, if this were the Bizarre Universe, it would be Robert Stack's already fucking solved mysteries.
Nice.
But we go back because we want to claw back into that corpse because for me personally, I think it's the characters. Everybody comes with a different flavor.
Right.
And their interaction and their, because you sort of picture how they must act in real life.
Right.
And you think, how is this person acting? Like, it's obviously you can't, for the most part, like they're talking to a less than a bot in some cases of these decoys where they're getting like yes, no answers all the way up to like they're banging at the door.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Kayla, perfect example. Lauren and Kayla, like there's no engagement hardly at all. I mean, like I said, she does bring up the ex-boyfriend, but it's Lauren who takes all these little tidbits and, runs with them. For the most part, she just says cool, K, and, that's like it. Like, people have done on the Temple of TCAP, you can find where people have gone through the entire chat log.
Oh, yeah,
and, and isolated like all the times that Kayla, engages him with anything more than K and cool. It's almost nothing,
Well, okay. Along that lines too, we have the one guy I watched called him like a Terminator, so I'm gonna call him the chat Terminator. But he's also the Mickey Mouse Predator, Jeff Stacy.
Okay. Yes.
Because his
rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Jeff Stacy. Which implications. I think there's some blame somewhere in the wife's direction.
Yeah,
allegedly.
I'll go with that. Yep.
Allegedly. So, but yeah, the fact that he was just like on shooting game, giving out fake pictures, and this decoy is like, yes, like a mechanical puppet.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost as if you put Jeff Stacy in a room with this is going to be old school reference, but a tape recorder, right? And he just hits repeat and he goes, yes, click. And he goes, oh, you want to have sex? And he goes, click. And he goes, yes, click. You want to do anal? And he goes, click. And he goes, yes, click. And that's how we got to the fucking To Catch a Predator house.
Yes, dude. And you know what? It's that one. Stacy always trips me out too because she says, I'm going to go upstairs and get undressed. Come up in a few minutes. Come up and meet me in a few minutes. Okay. Like he's taking his jacket off. Like that's one aspect that I'll never be able to understand is how these guys can be so cavalier and not worried that they are about to get their ass beat by somebody. Like they're just so casual about it. Oh, okay, sure, stranger. You're going to go up and get in your bed and I'll come up and meet you in a few minutes. No problem.
Yeah, like this is not the 90s. This is not AOL Online where it's like there's no accountability. Like it's literal Wild West.
Right.
Like they're starting to do stings, they're starting to do stuff like that, but also people are getting savvy. Like they're getting savvier to scams, savvier to like going places and getting killed by Craigslist killers or whatever.
Right.
But these dudes will just like there must be like a switch or there's something in it, and that's what's so alluring is you want to know what that switch is.
Yeah.
That's what'll keep us coming back because no matter how you slice it, there's no core because it's all in the weird waves of each character.
Right.
Yeah, like they're all so different, but they're also the same. Like they all have different personalities, different jobs, different like it's always like what makes you want to go in these chat rooms, but then they're all the same in that aspect because it's weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely enough variety that there's a predator for everyone. I don't know if you're familiar with the channel Zoe Mauve. He doesn't do content anymore. TCAP content, Zoe Mauve, highly recommend it.
I have a vague memory.
Okay, the story goes that on his disappearance, his exit from the community, I guess, was that his job was affected by his content output and he had to choose between the two, and so he just disappeared one day. But that's that. But my point is going to be that he has some great content where he talks about his favorite predator, and then he puts predators up against one another in the conversation. Like, yeah, okay, I can understand. You got Jeff Stacy, you got these factors about him that are interesting. But then then you got over here, you got David Schumacher, and so his favorite, he always contended, was David Schumacher because he just, in Zoe Mauve's words, gives Hansen the business. Like, it's so
really
funny. Zoe Mauve is great, man, because because he comes right, I don't know. I think I somewhat agree with him. I wouldn't say that Schumacher's my favorite, but I like Zoe Mauve's take on it.
Yeah.
And it's Schumacher trying to have a smoke in the house. Like, can I smoke in here?
Yeah, like what the fuck? Like, oh my god. Yeah, there are, and that's part of it too. Is like each locale has their own flavor, so it's hard to even take one from an episode and put them against another episode because a Texas predator has a completely different like southwestern appeal and vibe and flavor as opposed to like the New Jersey dudes.
Right.
So it's hard to be like, how do you put like, let's say someone like Stanley Kendall up against someone like what's his name, Wandler, right?
Wandler, yeah, Wandler.
So they both have weird fetishes. But one's, how do you, how do you, if you had a scale, they would just be spinning.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It is tough, to have your, I don't know. I like the way that Zoe puts it, but you're right. How do you compare one to the other? And it is weird that some of us have our quote favorites. I've done a couple of videos where I've asked the community to contact me, and then I release what they've, the responses that they've given me with the question, who's your favorite predator and why? And there's going to be a large group of people that are like, how can you have a favorite? These guys are disgusting. Well, that's not the point. You're missing the point.
It's a drama.
Right.
Yeah, your favorite to laugh at, your favorite to ridicule, your favorite to see destroyed by Hansen.
Their face filled
so
with
it's not
grass.
really a favorite. Like, I appreciate this person's character. It's TCAP. It's TCAP centric. And if you're not really in on the joke, I said in that TCAP movie that I'm doing air quotes because it wasn't really a movie, but I said in that the community is defined by an esoteric comedy that requires a how do I put it, a focused, deliberate attention to the details, like the minutia. And if you can get into that mindset, then you're going to have a great time with TCAP, because it's really just, I think esoteric's the right word. It's a comical, funny bone thing that is just not out there and common every day. I don't know how to explain it.
It's a confluence of a bunch of different things. So let me see if I can pull it all together. It's like dark comedy. It's true crime. It's like world's dumbest.
Yeah.
And it's charisma to the nines.
John DuPay to the nines.
Yeah, it's like you get all of that together. Like, let's say one of those things falls apart. Like, you can say, well, it could have survived without this, that, or the other thing. I don't think it would have survived without any of those things. It needed those four things to sing in concert.
That's pretty good, yeah.
And that's why when it came back, it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw it when it was on TV. And what I first started watching it, obviously, when David started showing it to me, and I didn't like it. I was like, this is fucking stupid. I was so bored. But then the more I watched it, and then we started, looking into Mr. Gigi, and then we watched yours and stuff. I'm like, okay, like I can get into watching other people critique all these guys, because it helps me put in that mindset of this is just, it's entertainment. It's not just like
it's you can get into it one of two ways. In the old days before we had YouTube, the only way to get into TCAP was go through it yourself. Watch it raw, watch it on film, or not on film, on TV rather. Like, get as much as you can. Watch the Predator raw, even though those were like pretty pathetic sort of cash grabs, I felt.
Right.
But yeah, you got all that you could, and you just sort of had to remember it. Now, and with a million creators out there all in love with this stuff, they get to pick their favorite bits, and so it's always a great collage because it's everybody's 100% choice cuts.
Yeah, and then finding the interrogations too, like that part with Chris Hansen, and then the after the fact. I like watching that after the fact. Like that guy that we watched, the narcissist guy. Like he was
Oh my
super
God.
interesting to just sit there and watch him talk.
Okay, so Jim Roush, but when you say narcissist, my mind goes to Jeff Sokol.
Yeah.
That fucking guy.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like, if you could take all of the pompous, ego, self-inflated bullshit of every predator from TCAP and cram him into one asshole, that would be Jeff Sokol's asshole.
Oh yeah, I just had to look him up and see what he looks like.
And I love his interrogation too.
Jeff Sokol's the guy that eats the pizza in front of Hanson. If that helps.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the first picture that came up, was him eating a giant pizza.
Yeah, and so Planet Pizza gets a ton of shit for that.
Yeah, if you go to their website or if you look at their the comments on their restaurant. Now, I support the comments that don't bash that only use the predator quotes. I think that's hilarious where they say, the pizza that's small is as big as the large or whatever. Like that sounds great.
Yeah.
Hurts nobody, gives us a good laugh.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that kind of stuff is fun, and if you are not in line with the TCAP community, it's harmless, fluff. And so I'm totally fine with that stuff. Like, but it starts to. There are a lot of people out there who like want to get so angry about this stuff.
Yeah,
and I get, because there are some people out there whose content I really enjoy, but who get really sanctimonious and really judgmental and really this way or that. And I feel like that sort of spoils the art.
I agree.
Like if you're making a dark comedy,
yeah,
you can't like in the third act be like, and actually it's not funny, and here's why you should feel bad about it. Like what?
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
Well, I have a that's interesting you bring that up, because this is where I have branched off and kind of left the TCAP community, so to speak, because there's too much of that going on, in my opinion, where it's not the same, let's have fun and laugh at these guys anymore. There's a lot of people that are in TCAP and that are making content that are pointing fingers inward. Let's see, this person over here was inappropriate. They were trying to hit on women in the TCAP community. Let's go destroy their life. Let's go find out where they work, this and that. And it's like, whoa. What the hell happened here, man? Like we used to have a good time.
Yeah. When things get big, they get heavy and they start to collapse in on themselves.
Yeah.
Like and that's why it needs to stay esoteric, like you were saying. It needs to be like, maybe you're a Lovecraft fan, maybe you're not, but it needs to be like the Esoteric Order of Dagon. It needs to stay small. It needs to stay for the dedicated fans to have fun with it. Mm-hmm. It's not for hate fucks to like come across someone and try to find out where their parents live or where their friends live or where their blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Like it's, lighthearted. We realize they could have, but bear for the grace of God and Chris Hansen and whatever and Dateline NBC and blah, blah, blah. Everything's fine. So it was all a game. So we don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Like this was all an act. but then we all get so serious about it. That's why I love your content, because it's light, but it's not unsubstantial.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that, and I don't feel like I'm very judgmental. Now, I like to say this about my interest in To Catch a Predator, because it can seem really weird, and I can understand people saying if you're focusing on predators so often, there's something wrong with you. Right. And it's like, okay, well here, let's look at it this way: To Catch a Predator was not a show about children being violated. The show was about guys who attempted to do it and they failed. And that's the difference. And I think that's where, in my mind, that's why it's okay. If this show was about kids getting hurt, screw that. That's not fun. That's not funny. There's nothing even, remotely lighthearted about that. But this is about Lorne Armstrong and Kenneth Brinkman and, Eric Thornton and Chris Urban and all these guys who tried to do something horrible and they failed at it. And that's hilarious. That's, to me, is funny.
Those type of people feel to me like the Murphy protesters, like those fucking 8 to a dozen people walking around. Like,
don't mess with Murphy.
I cannot believe it. How stupid can you be? Was there not a single person in that dozen people who looked at it from a slightly different angle and went, "Oh shit. Wait, are we stupid? Guys, I think we're stupid.
No.
Damn it."
I don't think any of them thought that.
No, of course they did. They don't mess with Texas.
Yeah. No, that was a pretty weird little thing that the group of neighbors who said, quit preventing predators from coming to our city.
Hey, quit catching the people who would come to molest our children. And not for nothing, but like everybody is always, they think that kids are completely blank. Like that when you turn around, they just don't exist. Like they're not going online to fuck around. Like I'm a kid. Right. I'm not a kid anymore. I shouldn't say that. I was a kid. I'm not a kid anymore. I was. And I remember
your backdrop wants to disagree with you.
I know. I'm sort of trapped in this childlike facade, but I remember the kind of shit I got up to online in the early days. Like there, but for the grace of God, go a lot of us who could have been lured in by these weirdos. And that's like why it's sort of a double dip. A lot of people who like to catch a predator are people who grew up but virtually encountering these weirdos.
Yeah. I used to play pool in like Yahoo games, and I was in the Yahoo chat rooms when I was 12, whatever age, like at night when my parents were asleep, I was up in my computer, like
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, ASL and all that stuff all the time in there.
My recent Forts in Georgia video that I did, the overdue analysis video, Forts in Georgia, I talk about Todd West, and I had found online where some girl's blog was, when I was younger, I used to go into the chat rooms, and she got a letter from Perverted Justice years later that said, we see that who Todd West is, and he's been busted. That's fascinating to me, but that's an example of what your wife is saying here. Is it Kristen? Krista, I'm sorry. Krista's saying about, being young and playing pool in the Yahoo chat or whatever, and just probably being hit on occasion by Todd West and others.
Like I would get hit on, like just being at, whatever, like the cute kid with the bowl cut and TCAP. That was me at one point. Like I was getting dudes who would be like, hey man, like I'll give you $40 if I can suck your dick. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'm just like, what?
Okay. Yeah.
Like, yeah, because like if you were alive and were in a chat room, that's just what happened. Like it was fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
And the fact that,
But we survived, right?
Yeah, we survived. That's the thing. We survived because luckily these dudes are inept. And you can see that. That's part of the funny aspect of it too, is like if the decoys weren't given orders to be like a doormat of like yes answers toward a sexual liaison, as Chris likes to put it, it wouldn't happen.
Right. Now, one thing that's interesting along those lines, I think, is if you look at my the first overdue analysis I do is Bethpage, New York. It was the first episode. It wasn't even called To Catch a Predator yet.
No,
it was
Dangerous Web.
Yeah,
with Stone Phillips.
I noticed because when I do these overdue analysis, I end up watching the episodes, which I've already seen, but I watch them, super intensely, and I'm watching for any little thing I can make a joke about or a comment or whatever, or I'll find like this person's they worked for this company or whatever, so I'll go look for that company and see if I find anything interesting to show. But in watching it so intently, I noticed that those Bethpage predators were different than the whole rest of the series because it was a new show and, it wasn't, people weren't aware that Dateline was out there doing this or something. The guys acted differently. They were more, almost like they were professional at it. Like
You're right.
They would walk around the perimeter of the house. They would get the full lay of the land, make sure that the cars, if there wasn't supposed to be a car there was no car there. They would look in the windows, before they knocked and stuff. They were really careful about their predation. But then after the show got, famous and it was, across the United States, everyone knew what was going on. Those guys seemed to super anxious to get
up
busted.
The driveway.
Yeah.
The guy that brings his tractor
with
trailer.
2 people at a time. They hurry in the house like, hey, where are you at? Like they rush to the door. Yeah.
I wonder, it's got to be a way in which the decoys handled themselves. Because I'm sure before they were getting paid to essentially like factory farm the ocean of predators, it wasn't going to be, it wasn't going to be a job. They were like trying to find dangerous dudes, not just goofy dimwits. That's what they fucking found.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, that was fun and all, but oh fuck, like Jesus Christ, like because you look at what's his name, Dark Fantasy or what's his name, the guy they blurred his face,
Dark Horse,
shit.
Dark Hero,
yeah. Like him, the dude who's like, yeah, of course I'm always suspicious, or like all those dudes in the early ones, they do seem super dangerous.
Yeah, they do. Well, Dark Hero even gets into Hanson's face, like bumps chests with him at one point. You just barely see that clip, and I'm thinking like, where's Ron Knight? Where's the security? But he actually bumps into Hanson, you know, like trying to make his point, and it's like that's pretty scary. Now we've seen him unmasked since then because they blurred his face out. I don't know if you've seen him, but the only Ember Infierno, who I haven't heard from at all for probably a year or more, who used to do a lot of the Lorne trolling.
Yeah,
responsible basically for Lornography as we know it. It wouldn't be Lornography without her, I guess is my point. But
right,
she got a hold of Dark Hero, and I can't think of his name now, but she got him on camera and stuff, and he's talking about all kinds of conspiracies and stuff. And that's kind of interesting because Hanson, they were concerned enough. They go, we're going to blur this guy's face out, or maybe they were just being dramatic, like, ooh, maybe he'll go kill himself, so we need to make sure we blur his face out. But we're still going to run the story.
Yeah,
but,
they were everything in that first was so sketchy and weird. That's the thing. Like what they had was a very dangerous, very loose situation. So like after the first two, even with like, let's say as someone like the roly-poly Rabbi David Kay, like when he tries to take his like bear swipes at Chris and he's like, and he does the whole clawing of his face, you know? That shit was crazy because I think they were still using too much skill to seduce these dudes. Mm-hmm. You needed to drop the intelligence factor by another 10 points. So you got dudes like
you need to be a 12-year-old.
Yeah, Chris Urban. So you got the guys who show up who are like, yeah, look at my eyes. I was bored. Like what?
Yeah. That's Keith Williams.
You rolled by. Yeah,
I'm just bored.
Keith, what's his nuts? Rolls by with the cops busting a dude out front. He calls, hey man, there's cops out there, and tells all like, yeah, don't worry about it. He's like, okay, be right back.
I'll be right
around
back.
The corner.
Check it out.
Dark Hero's name was Matt Dooley.
Yeah.
There you go, Matt Dooley. Thank you.
So who's the guy that sat at that table with the one chair and like, or no, it was at the bar and he ate like the super stale chocolate chip cookies, and somebody, I don't know what video we watched, but somebody brings it up eating these really super
the brownies. It was Jersey. Yep. It was the brownies.
Whatever they were. Super stale dessert.
Whatever they were.
I don't remember.
Important. This is important, TCAP lore.
I made some brownies. Have a seat.
Yeah, no, when the dude, it's a dude who wants to like roll immediately. He's like, oh, you want to go for a drive? She's like, try to taste the brownies and like
crumbs everywhere. And he keeps eating it while Chris is talking to him.
And you can hear it crunching. My God, they must have had 10 mics on that little island.
Yeah. Which is funny. Speaking of mics, the again, Zoe Mauve does a great series of videos about the boom mic guy. He calls it the destruction of a boom mic guy because it's James Rutherford sat and talked to Hanson, and the whole time there's this guy holding a boom mic, and you just see him like change position so many times to where he's finally like sitting on the ground holding it. But why do they need the boom mic when their sound is always so epic? Like you can hear so well.
Yeah, for the time and for whatever, everything, because everything back there was bulky and still on tape and shit, like crystal clear for what we get. Because, they've got, if you watch the raw footage, you can see the dudes like messing around with the table. So when there's lav mics taped all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
And like, it's perfect. I think that the booms are just there. Number one, union. You got to have a camera guy and a sound guy with the camera guy. Union. Mm-hmm. So they probably just gave him like a Fisher Price tape deck and like, just hold your thing and plug your whatever. We're not going to fucking use it.
It's not going to matter.
Yeah. As dude got to the 40-minute marker, Rutherford, he's like, sweating and his arms are spaghetti.
Yep.
Please leave. You want Latin Hawk something or other. You want him to get out before you can even enter the room.
Right.
Yeah.
The boom stays in the old pouch or whatever it is.
Amazing stuff. You're probably right though about the union. Yeah, I wouldn't even have thought of that, but that makes total sense. You know, you got your boom mic guy, and they're
I say, hey, NBC, you want a cameraman? He comes with they're like conjoined twins.
Yep, it's in the contract. It's in the contract, baby.
But it pays for itself in comedy because number one, he's a bigger spectacle with the boom mic that he's got to make him like as if so like it's embarrassing. You get Chris Hansen and let's say 2 cameramen, and you go, I'm embarrassed. Let's say you added 2 dudes who are acting as if they were trying to scare off a bear by making themselves as big as possible, and add them into the mix. It's hilarious. So that's like it's almost like Predator pinball. Jeff Stacy does this. He goes ding 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 ding, or at least happens in I think Petaluma a lot. Like Stephen Coates goes, and he's like ducking his way out of he's like
bouncing into people.
Yeah. Oh my god! And also now that I bring him up, look up Steven on Twitter. I follow him, but don't let him know because I want to keep following him.
I was going to ask
Steven
you.
GC.
Yes. And if you so it's still up. I can't fucking believe it. I have to tell everybody about this. The To Catch a Predator inspired song Thought Crime on YouTube. Thousands of comments, thousands of views. Every other track on the album, low double digits.
Well, yeah.
And it's like, if you love, here's how to describe it. If you grew up loving and looking forward to reading the comics on Sunday to find something mildly funny,
Yes.
the comments for that video are like that.
Yes.
They're like, okay, ha ha ha. And sometimes one will knock you out of the park. Sometimes Jim Davis will really deliver on a Garfield. You go, oh my fucking God. That's what this, and since there are thousands of them, it's like this pleasant stream of like sort of decent bread and then like a wow sometimes. And it's so fun.
Oh, that's what's great about Temple of TCAP too. I mean, there's so many random. I mean, obviously it's a message board, so you could comment and discuss any aspect of TCAP that you want. There's even Lorne specific sections and Jim Roush section. Actually, if you have Jim Roush stuff you want to say,
so funny.
Malord Roush, as he's called there, Malord.
They call him Malord.
Yeah, Malord Roush, just because he's got that air about him, like he looks like the king from a suit of or a deck of cards.
I'm surprised he didn't turn out to be the I'm gonna fuck you Predator, because that's what he says more often than not.
Oh yeah, no,
I'm gonna fuck you. You okay with that? I'm gonna fuck you. Just checking in again. Are you okay with that? Jim Roush. RAUCH. I'm gonna fuck you.
Hey, I want to actually plug Gold Shoe Standard, a channel on YouTube. That's we call him Chef. Chef used to be TCAP Recipes. Now he's Gold Shoe Standard. But he recently had Pompilio's, the restaurant that Roush mentions. It's prominent in his phone call. He had Pompilio's send him some spices and some sauce, and so he's preparing a new video where he's going to make Pompilio's spaghetti. And I just love Chef for his twisted take on TCAP, where he makes recipes that are related to TCAP. It's such a bizarre angle to take, and he's good at it. And I just recommend his channel.
It's such a beautiful seed for so many art forms to spring forth.
Sure.
If I weren't so flighty and into too many things at too many different times of the day,
right,
I would love to do a bunch of TCAP related shit. I would love to do let's say you one day you were like, yeah, you know what? I would love to break down Jim Roush. You got a co-pilot if you want him right here. I'll do it. Dude. Sign me up. I don't care. That. If you need VO, I got a mic, whatever. I can't dedicate my time because I also have a small child, which is annoying at times. So my time is spoken for, but I would love to be an ancillary character in things.
Oh, that would be cool, man. And I'm really pleased that you said that. I will definitely keep that in mind. And then, as a matter of fact, I will likely be taking you up on that. So I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad.
This is the sort of thing because, like I said, two episodes. I was doing them in order that went after the first two because I wanted to watch the ones with the cops come because the other ones don't feel complete to me.
Get on the ground.
I'm with you.
I need to hear someone say "get on the ground."
And we're like the one guy with the ghillie suit. Why? He didn't show up to work and was like, I want to wear this
It's a special type of camouflage that lets him hide in the bushes.
The only guy.
And I've gone over that myself, and I realized that all it is because if they don't use it, they don't get the budget for it the next year. So
Right.
they have to be able to rationalize the budget for the ghillie suit.
Well, the budget, our old neighbor had one. Like, how much are they?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no, my ghillie suit got a hole. It blends in. Yeah, it's so crazy.
Oh, that's cool, man. And if I don't know what the timeline is here, but I seriously doubt we are able to go over all that there is to discuss. So I am in return telling you, if you ever want to do another episode involving me, I would love to, because I know there's just so much stuff to talk about regarding this. And for example, the entire thing where our hero Chris Hansen returned only to start taking down, channels left and right. That whole bizarre situation needs to be gone over again.
He came back a villain.
Yeah.
He
became the villain. Yep.
It was so heartbreaking when that popped, right? Like, I was going through, like, imagine this emotional journey. So I'm getting back into Catch a Predator. I run into Mr. Gigi's stuff, and I run into that age bump thing where I'm probably like 10 or 20 years older than him. So I kept saying, this kid's stuff is good. And I kept saying, do I watch someone's stuff who's like 15 years younger than me, but it's so fucking good. So I was like, whatever. The age is yada, yada, yada.
Right.
That's what we're all just entities online. So that helped me get over that.
Sure.
And then as that finally slips away, it's just like, hey, guess what? Chris Hansen back and like, you're dead. You're dead. You're dead. And I was like, but like, you were the fucking like hero of everybody.
You were the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you don't go after your fans, dude. Like,
I can't even, there's not even like a poignant literary or mythological reference to this scenario.
Right. It was all Vincent Nicotra. It was his wicked behind the scenes doing, and I think Hansen being a boomer. I don't hold Hansen as responsible as maybe other people do. I think he literally just took Vincent at his word, and Vince said, we need to take these channels down, and he said, okay, if that's what we have to do. His mistake, obviously, but he did eventually give me and others a verbal apology, and he gave me his phone number and said, if you have any trouble, please call me. This is interesting. I've since called him a couple times and sent him text messages a couple times. Every time he's gotten back to me immediately. He's either answered the call or sent me a response text within like 2 minutes. It's very cool. So I'm like, okay, we're good. I don't hold any grudge against him anymore.
All right. Okay. Yeah. It was that. Maybe that's the other part of it too, is like, it's sort of the gift that keeps on giving, because as everything is temporary, all of this has now sort of smoothed out. And so now we have, it's like another ripple. So we have TCAP, right? And we have Murphy, Texas, which essentially kills it, but it goes on as an echo of itself for another, 6-8 episodes.
Right.
And that's what sort of happened here. Chris comes back, kills stuff, or like, lays waste that go on for a little while, but then it all comes back and sort of reinvigorates itself.
Sure.
And so we're now having a nice little renaissance of sorts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's it could have been the end of me on YouTube, because I got my channel taken down twice.
Yeah.
Now I should say this. I want to mention this. First time I got taken down, it didn't come back. Once it goes down, it's pretty much unheard of to get your channel back once YouTube decides it's gone.
Mm.
The second time my channel went down, all hail Mr. Gigi, because I believe with his help, his focus on it, and his subscribers, his community, basically tweeting at Team YouTube, they got my channel back. And I really believe that was the work of Mr. Gigi. So bless him. He has also always been very open to communicating with me if I have a question from him. He was in a video of mine. He's contacted me to be in a video of his, and it's just, I love that, because I know he's a busy dude, tons of subscribers, and he still took the time to say, hey, this is where I came from. I'm gonna fight for these channels, and it worked for me. He got my channel back after it was totally wasted. It was gone. So, and I think that's relatively unheard of. So I'm very thankful to him for that. I should mention that. Yeah.
And that's another, like, we can say it's another ripple from TCAP, as many people want to say it's bad, blah, 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 blah. Look at, let's say, however you fall on the Predators, however you fall on the TV show, however you fall, yada, yada, yada. It has generated umpteen zillion dollars, umpteen zillion fresh ideas, hours and hours and hours of content. It has fulfilled people's lives. Like it has become a stepping stone for people, a touchstone for people. Like I've got a list of about 10 things I could talk about with competence. Law and Order SVU, dinosaurs, yada, yada, yada. A TCAP is on there because it's one of the things that's it's so innovative, not innovative. It was innovative for the time because it was like this wild new idea, but it was so interesting and the characters were so intriguing, and it got its own special mention from True Crime. Yeah, because it's Dateline. Yeah, it's a living in a bubble. It's everybody's too afraid to do it again. Nobody thought of it before, so it went whoop, awesome, bam, now it's terrible. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's awesome that, these communities like this, like with Mr. Gigi helping you out and his subscribers helping your channel out. It's nice, or he could have been like, oh,
it's an actual community.
More for me, more viewers for me, for my channel than, that's really nice. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, he was under no contract to help any of us, and he decided to, and that was cool. And he exposed Vincent, because Vincent had tried to get Gigi to go along with this little scheme to say, let's tell everyone that Hanson tried to strike your channel, and it'll create this drama. Vincent was a big fan of no publicity is bad publicity. He thought all publicity is good publicity, and he just was the worst person to have in that position.
It felt like if you could give someone electric shock therapy, wipe them clean as a human, let them watch the entirety of the Jersey Shore and be like, do you know how to market? And he's like, yes.
Right.
Hey, it's a situation over here or whatever. Yeah, he was just like
a lobotomy.
Everything he did was just like the exact opposite thing you should do.
Right. Yeah.
And what a wild ride it was. It was so stressful to me. I had to check out until recently to see how it lay, because
that's cool. I get it.
Every tidbit that came out, I was like, oh man, this sucks. Like after the bedrock that was Gonzo was when, he got arrested, or he turned himself in for all of the Kickstarter stuff and the mugs and the checks. And I was like, gee, timber. And then it was just like everybody beneath them got slowly crushed. And I just got sadder and sadder and had to leave.
Yeah, no, I get that, man. I get that. And after the both times that my channel got taken down, immediately I was despondent. And then within like a day, I was like reinvigorated and like, screw this, I'm coming back strong, right? And that happened both times. And both times I was like, I give up, screw this, because I put so much time and effort into editing my videos. To have them just disappear on a whim, wiped away, it's disheartening in a word. But
I can only doing what I do with this show, which does take some time editing, and I do a live thing which doesn't take shit, but just as a layman, knowing very little about video editing, watching your videos is like a feast, because I imagine all of the things that you're doing to make them as they are.
Right.
And fucking I don't know if anyone else is going to be able to, and I hope the overdue analysis keep running.
That's the intention, yeah.
Thank God for that, because every time I latch onto something, it's like, oh, donezo. It's just my habit. But yeah, for instance, the special attention you pay to in the Kenneth Brinkman analysis, where he makes Chris say the C word, you know what I mean?
Oh, right. Yeah.
And you go, when we all get to step back into second grade, and he goes, cusser. Oh my God. Every time there's beautiful. A bit like that, or and I don't want to, because I am sure these sort of get sidestepped because they are so engaging and then they're gone. But the commercials, I love it. I love the fake diamond. I love the Glade. I love the oh crap, what was the third one?
I don't remember in that episode.
Balsam, the shampoo.
Yeah.
the Doublemint gum. I fucking love all of that shit. Oh my God. Like, I am in love with terrible advertising. Anything really terrible, I guess I like.
Okay, yes.
And just like...
I got to say her name. Nikki Chuckles is the channel who I went to because she is out of her mind, hilarious and crazy, and she does what she wants to do, and it's so funny to me. It really grabbed me. So I went to her and I said, will you do commercials for some of my videos? Because I saw her doing retro commercials, and I like to make that, put that retro feel onto my videos.
Yeah.
And so she was very open to that idea, and so she's done a handful of videos with me, and I just can't say enough about her. She's just wild. She's crazy. And you're bringing up the ones that she did that are they're beautiful. They're so silly.
Yeah, they're incredible.
They're almost childlike in their beauty. I just love, they make me feel good when I see her content.
Yeah, there's just something about the way you put your content together that feels like familiar yet fresh. Like anybody, it's almost like, everybody... Even though kids are losing touch with certain icons that we see everywhere, like voicemail when it was still the reel or whatever, or like the erase button or whatever. Like these are things that are losing track because kids have no touchstone. We can still understand what a TV is implicitly, how big it is or not. It still looks, there's still something there that I think everybody can relate to with what you're doing here. But
that's cool. I appreciate that, man. This is really, I can't tell you how tickled I am that, and when we first spoke as well, that you're quoting my content. You're pulling out specifics from my videos and saying, oh, when you did this, when you said this, it blows my mind, and I friggin' love it, man. I just take it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, that's what you got to do, right? Like if you like something, or if I like something, I crank it up to 11 and I put it on rinse and repeat. So like
I do that too.
And that's the only way to go, because there are some jokes that never, ever, ever get old. Like, let's say you made a supercut, 8 hours of Kenneth Brinkman going, and then Chris going, you want to try again? And then you going, okay, and doubling down on the cough. I would watch that for 8 fucking hours.
You got the joke. I don't know that anybody ever got that joke. That you want to try again? Okay.
I thought that was sheer, like, simplistic genius. I was like, of course, that's hilarious.
Oh, that's great, man. I often wonder, how many of my jokes go unappreciated, because I know that they're often very tame and very subdued. But then, then I'll read my comments and somebody will get it along the road, and they'll call out the one thing that I've never heard anybody, comment on.
I imagine
I love that.
It's the same type of feeling that like people who play Zelda get when they find some secret bullshit. Like,
yeah,
when you do stuff like that, and when content creators do stuff like that, where it comes and goes, you don't really call attention to it, or it's something clever that you're not really like, hey, look how fucking clever I am. Like, it's hilarious. Like,
oh, dude, that's cool.
Here's what a picky asshole I am. So in your video with Kenneth, you have the counter.
Yes.
And at one point you back it up, and because I had not kept track of the counter, like by the fourth video, I'm like, when he backs it up, did he keep the math? Because now the number looks different. And I'll be damned. Yeah, you got the math right. Like I was going to, because there are things that like, I like to point out picky shit like that. That's the kind of shit I do.
That's true.
I definitely, she's not like, that's true. I definitely make mistakes. I'm not going to say that I don't, but, that's cool that you focus on that kind of stuff too. And I try to as well.
Yeah. Cause I know as a creator, some stuff where I make mistakes, I leave it intentionally. And so I give people the benefit of the doubt a lot of the time, because when I fuck up, it's funny. Yeah. Like when you see someone unintentionally fuck up, and it's no big, like no harm, no foul, I'll leave it because it's funny.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like when, the klutzy thing keeps coming to my goddamn mind. Klutzy. But yeah, oh my God. And then I could spend, it's too late to do it now, but I could spend probably 45 minutes talking about Del Harvey's toe.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like
Pitiful destroyed toe.
her pitiful destroyed toe. So here's my thing. We get to hear about goddamn this poor destroyed toe time after time after time. And like we've all had those jobs where you pick up the phone and your name doesn't matter. So why not? Let's go freewheeling. My curiosity has always been in why all the decoys have had given one story of which they could not waver.
Right, exactly.
Like, oh, I got,
I gotta do the laundry.
I got to do the laundry. I'm getting out of the shower. Dells are always weak as shit. Like,
Busted my toe.
Yeah, Dells are always like my toe or I got Diet Coke on my pants.
I don't want the stain.
Like, not for nothing, but like as Dell's hand is out there waving to David Case, he's coming in, and Dell's like, "Hey, I got Diet Coke in my pants. I'll be right back. I gotta change." Like, I'm sure David Case like, "Yeah, I don't like Diet Coke." Like, what? Hello, like you saw the pictures.
We'll see.
We'll see. Okay, so that's another thing. Not that this makes any difference.
Yes,
but in some edits of that, Dell says, "Are you sure you're going to have enough energy?" and makes reference to the girlfriend.
Right.
And in others, the girlfriend is completely cut and it's just David Kaye going, "Yeah, we'll see," but there's no girlfriend mentioned. What's up with that? Is there anything?
Nothing that I know of. Yeah. No, I don't know why that. I've noticed that there's some strange edits like that out there. And I usually, I'll think about them for a second and I go, oh, well, I don't know why. But yeah, that is weird that it's edited in such a way.
I imagine all this footage got cut up in a million ways. They're like, okay, we need literally a 17-second stinger. Like, cut out the mention of the girlfriend, but we need to have him saying okay, but no one gives a fuck about the girlfriend. So yeah. And that's what blows my mind too. Like the Jim Roush footage, people have it from like 4 or 5, like in quadraphonic sound and like 3D rendered metaverse bullshit. And I'm stuck with the same like crappy ass, like it's almost as if Jim at times is looking through like a mailbox hole.
Oh yeah.
Like who's in charge of that camera? Number one, like especially when he's sleeping. Not that this is going to turn into a critique of the fucking Jim Roush interrogation video, but whoever's working that fucking camera is like zzz, zzz, zzz. Like as he's asleep, and it's just like from mustache to eyebrows, and there he is with his little caterpillar. Like, what the fuck? Anywho, Baked, I'm going to wrap it up because I've wasted a lot of your time. And
I loved it, man. I'm serious. I really dug it. If you want to continue at any point, just hit me up again because it was fun.
Yeah, anytime the TCAP itch flares, I know. I've got Sav. I've seen the commercials.
Yeah, Salmon Analysis video.
Yeah. So here's how we usually wrap it up. You're honorary staff now being on the show, so give us something you recommend to my listeners. We're going to give a staff recommendation sort of thing.
A recommendation for content?
Anything. I don't care what it is. All in sundry.
Okay. Something I really dig recently that is apropos because we discussed how the age difference, and I get what you were saying about watching Mr. Gigi and going, damn, this guy's like, what, early 20s? Right. And I'm quite a bit older than him. We can measure the distance in decades. Like, I get that. Well, one of my favorite content creators currently, and that's gonna be my recommendation, is Bassub, Bassub.
Yeah.
I think the guy's like 19 years old, and he's zany, and that's gonna be my recommendation as a member of the staff here at FFOP Radio. Bassub, Buster Bassub, he goes by, but his channel name is Bassub.
Nice.
And he just did a video called Top 10 Cat Moments of 2021, and they're all his cat. He has a cat named Junior, and they're ridiculous. And I mean, I wish that I was that creative when I was 19 and I was, making content. I think I would have been way better back then than I am anymore. But nonetheless, that's gonna be my recommendation. Bassub.
Nice. Yeah, I can't imagine if I had access to because this whole studio, the technology didn't exist when I was coming up. I had a goddamn VHS camera, and I would make home movies, and then that was it. Like that was the one step process to creating content, was making it, and then that's it. sometimes during the
Yes.
holidays, you'd pop it in the VCR and make your relatives suffer through it. But that's it now. Everybody who has the itch can not only bring that to fruition, but bring it to
Right.
about in like such professional and interesting ways. So
Yes.
that's I guess, it's going to be a little obvious, but for my stack of recommendation, please, if you're listening, if you're hearing the sound of my voice, check out Baked Salmon's channel on YouTube. I am there constantly.
Bless you.
It's so fun and it's so interesting. I love, it's if you're going to get into TCAP, you're going to have questions that are going to be big mainstream questions. And your channel has helped answer a lot of those for me. Again, with the mention Todd West.
Mm-hmm.
The deep dive into Kenneth Brinkman again, I loved. All the individual
Great.
and all the overviews I am super in love with. Plus the radio shows, the commercials.
Oh, that's cool. I just did the 4th radio show.
Yeah, I saw that. I
So
haven't got a
if
chance to listen to that one yet. But
Cool.
yeah, you and I have the same. People used to say to me, Dave, that's cheesy. It's stupid. You like shitty things. And I say, fuck that shit. I love sound drops. I love jingles. I love wacky commercials. I love all that shit.
Same here, man.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I spent my life loving and wanting to be around sound drops and be like, I spent my life in that mode of like, if you had a genie, of course you'd wish for your own soundtrack.
Sure. Go, dude.
Krista,
Yes, Krista.
what do you want to recommend?
Oh, I'm gonna double down on David's thing because, like I said,
Baked salmon.
a baked salmon because I wasn't into TCAP. I was not like, I thought it was super boring when it was just the show and that's it. But there are certain things on like every one that I've watched of your videos that just tickles my funny bone, and I have to sit there and be
cool.
like, why that was so funny, but like. I don't know why, but it was, and I
Yeah.
liked it.
It's
That's cool.
Here's what I'll liken it to, and maybe you'll agree, maybe you won't. It's kind of like a Zucker Brothers movie, but one of the good ones. It's like
I can go with that.
Top Secret.
Okay, yeah.
The jokes aren't necessarily related to the story, but they're there and they're
Right.
solid as shit.
yeah.
They go
That's cool.
they go
man.
in whether they fit comedically they're solid, thematically there may be whatever, but they're so good it doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
That's cool, man. Thank you so much.
It's just the truth. But like when what's her name goes, oh, I know the German, he's sitting over there. That's your type of comedy. Like
Yeah.
the you want to try that again with the cough or the klutzy or the fucking like, the counter or like the children
Yeah.
that come up and they laugh at when Chris Hansen's cock. Like it's all top secret.
Isn't that bizarre though? Hanson lowers his voice and says, cock.
Do you have a nice cock?
I want to blank you in your blank with the blank.
What's that now?
Blank.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh man, that's cool. And you know what? And it's rad that you said that about the Zucker Brothers because Naked Gun.
Yeah.
Big fan of that series and the TV show and Leslie Nielsen and
Yeah.
one of the funniest things I ever saw in my life was Leslie Nielsen in a serious role, like it was back like I don't know, Antebellum South or something, and he's playing a serious role, and my buddy and I were just cracking up watching it because it's Leslie Nielsen.
Right.
It's like that. He's funny when he's serious, you know.
Yeah,
So,
those
That's
are
cool.
That's the crazy thing. Yeah, when you mention like Police Squad, it's kind of like that too. It's the
Yeah.
type of comedy that you don't need to be invested in the theme of, the genre of, the taste of. Like it's all hilarious.
that's cool.
It's like your show To Catch a Predator is the framework for the flesh
Yeah.
that you build on these bones.
Oh, that's bitching, man. Thank you so much, brother. I
Eh.
really appreciate it. You've really made my year. We're right at the tail end of it, but
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, you made my year because just hearing somebody quote my videos is just brilliant.
Listen, if there's not much I can do with my time on this earth,
Yes.
but I spend it watching and doing the things I like and then reciting them to people to their consternation because they go, what? And I go, you don't get it. It's a reference to Catch a Predator. Like, seriously, a little before, like behind the curtain, I know I said we're wrapping up, but this is how it happens on the show. we were talking before the show, and I said, hey, we have any last minute questions, comments, or concerns? He's like, is this some sort of setup? I'm just looking. I can't.
I just want to get to the beach. Oh, that's cool, man.
Okay, and also here's another. Okay, so my kid, very young, he's watching a show called The Bumble Numbs, and so there are these 3 cartoon characters. You go and make food, and the narrator goes, how does it taste? And every time he fucking says that, I hear Chris Hansen go, how does it taste? And so my wife has heard me say, oh, wow, are these home baked? Like 1.5 million times.
Nice.
It's true.
You have time to finish your cookie or? No.
I don't even want this cookie.
I didn't want this cookie. I'm just trying to get to the beach. Nut scratch.
Klutzy.
Oh my God. Anyway, okay. So now we're saying goodbye. Once again, Baked Salmon, thank you so much for coming on. I look forward to doing whatever you ask me, and of course I will have you back on as soon as the need arises.
Okay, you got it, homie. Thank you so much.
Okay, once again, listeners, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Everything Everywhere. So keep it locked in. I still don't have an outro, so see ya.
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.
So I'm rolling. Are you rolling?
I'm rolling.
Okay, 1,
2,
3,
4.
bingo. Now we're there.
Okay, cool.
All right, man. So here we are. This is technically the green room. Let me introduce you to my wife. She's sitting off camera over there.
Hi.
That's Krista.
I saw her briefly. She's wearing gray and a necklace.
Yeah. She definitely is.
Hi there.
Hello.
Okay, so there's not a lot of finesse to this show. I guess what I'm basically just going to grill you about is like mostly your TCAP content and like your choice of style and stuff. And we'll probably talk about a lot of the Predator stuff.
Okay, cool.
Because nobody in my life is as into it as I am. And so
Okay.
I've had 2 episodes of my show where I've forced people essentially, like nicely, into watching certain episodes.
Oh, cool.
They've been like, yeah, it's been a lukewarm, let's say, reception at best.
Okay. Yeah, no sweat. Well, I'm looking at your backdrop here, and I just have one thing to say. Nerd!
Right?
Yeah.
No, it's cool. It's totally cool, man. I dig it. Hey, buddy, did you see the nerd? I beg your
Oh,
pardon.
we had that
I
one
had
too.
that one too. Yeah, I want, the only reason I turned on the camera is so you could see all because most of this crap is like new from Christmas, and somebody's got to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bitching, man. What's going on with Buddha back there?
Which,
It's like Buddha, but it doesn't look like he's
Patrick?
got Buddha's head.
yeah, no, that's Patrick.
Oh my God, I've never seen that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I have a 3D printer, so I have a big purple, and it's like this.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, hey, no
cool.
problem.
Hey, buddy, did you get a load of the nerd? I beg your pardon. I love that. So you have that on your soundboard too, huh?
Yeah, I used to back in the old days before the show was what it is now. It was like a 3-person operation. My wife did the news. My buddy ran the soundboard. He didn't talk on a mic or anything. He just ran the soundboard.
Yeah,
and
he
we
would
had,
like write notes to us.
yeah, and we had hundreds of sound drops.
It was ridiculous.
Oh, it was so fun.
Yeah.
Are you using like a stream deck, or you just have a soundboard on the screen or something?
Oh, now I've got it built into my mixer. I've got the Podrack 8, so it's got, you can put, I don't know, a couple hundred on there, but you have to scroll through a shit ton of
Gotcha.
menus. I was doing it so old school. I just had another computer across from the table that I sit at now that would just have like Windows Media Player or Winamp or iTunes or whatever.
Right.
It would just scroll through and play the one he wanted.
Oh, that's badass, man. I like that. I
It
mean,
was
going
crazy.
old school is really cool. I actually when I first got out of college, I went to school for graphic design, but I got a job at a newspaper. And I'm old enough that working at that newspaper, it was all literal cut and paste where we ran stuff through a waxer. And but
man.
what's cool is I kept a lot of that mentality through the years. So when I started painting and doing art and stuff, it was still techniques that I learned when I was doing graphic design at a newspaper years ago. So I appreciate old school techniques. They're fun. It's raw, and you get your hands dirty, and it's cool. I like that.
When you're working with zero, like I came to this with zero knowledge, just a burning desire, So I just
same here.
I went, easiest method that I had. Like I just had a shit ton of computers and a shit ton of monitors. And so I was like, well, hell, I had 3 of them set up at one point. One did the sound drops. One we had surfed the news on, and it was like a whole radio operation in the house. It's nothing of what it is today. It's a skeletal, but this is a lot more lean and it's a lot easier on me.
Right. No, this is cool, man. I'm really digging it. I appreciate you inviting me to be a part of it. I had actually, before I ever did a YouTube channel, my intention had been to do a podcast. This was probably 4 years ago. I worked on it quite a bit without ever releasing it.
I don't want to stop you, but let's start the show first. Like now,
you got it.
We're getting to, I'm worried we're going to burn too much in the green room, and I'm going to put all this in after the fact. Let me start the show for real. I got a nice joke for you coming up, too.
Okay.